Chair.
Chris Hipkins.
Chairman, and I'm very pleased to speak to the amendment that I have put forward to Clause 2, which would move the commencement date of the main part of this legislation from the 21st of May 2015, Budget Day, through to the 21st of June 2015. So it would give people just over a year who haven't had the opportunity to take up the kickstart to do so. And I want to particularly address my comments and speaking to this amendment to the 5 new national members on the other side of the House. Those 5 national members all campaigned under the same slogan, which was they promised to be the strong voice for insert electorate name here, in John Key's national government. They had advertisements up and down the country and on their cars campaigning. Chris Bishops has got one still in the basement with the slogan on it. It sits in the basement now because he's given up, but it had to be a strong voice in John Key's national government. Well, let's hear it. Let's hear that strong voice. Let's hear them stand up and say why they think that the Kiwis who haven't yet signed up to KiwiSaver shouldn't get the $1,000 kickstart. Let's hear them stand up and explain why this legislation needs to be retrospectively backdated to stop Kiwis who haven't signed up being able to get the $1,000 kickstart. The amendment that I have put forward would give them a year to do so. And if the government think that this is an unfair advantage, say it. Let's hear it. Let's hear them say that, because let's actually think about the practical implications of this. If somebody on Thursday, now it's still Thursday in the House according to the rules of the House, so if somebody today in the rules of the House, which was actually Thursday in the real world, signed up at 1:30. So they went out on their lunch break and they signed up for KiwiSaver at 1:30. They get $1,000 for doing so. If somebody signed up right now, before this bill has even finished its passage through the House, they don't get the $1,000. We're talking a matter of an hour. How is that fair? Anyone from the government, I'm happy to hear how they think that's fair. It isn't. It isn't. If the government really believed in this change, and they really thought that this was necessary, they would at least give the New Zealanders who haven't had the chance to sign up the opportunity to do so. Here's another example and another reason why Kiwis should be given extra time to take up the measure and why my amendment is well and truly justified. If a child is born into a middle or higher income earning family, or has been born there, say, in the last 6 months to a year, and their parents took up the opportunity to sign them up to KiwiSaver, then they're going to get the $1,000. On the other hand, somebody who has been working their way up in a minimum wage job to get themselves to the point where they may have just got to that point around about now, where they can finally afford to sign up to KiwiSaver, they're not going to get it. So this reinforces an inequality in the system. It says to somebody, if you're born into a family, had the good fortune in the last few years to be born into a family who can afford to sign you up to KiwiSaver right when you're born, you're going to get an advantage compared to someone who is working really hard and potentially at the point now where they can finally sign up to KiwiSaver. They could have been working towards it. They're not going to get the $1,000 kickstart that somebody who has had the good fortune to be born into a family who could afford it is going to get. And that is unfair. So why not give those people who are on low incomes, who have been delaying signing up into KiwiSaver until they were in a financial position to do so, why not give them a year? Why not just give them a year to actually see if they can make it across that hurdle? Why not be fair? David Bennett says it's not fair. David Bennett's about the only member on that side of the House that I'm willing to hear criticism from on KiwiSaver, because he's one of the only people who isn't actually signed up to KiwiSaver on the other side of the House. As my colleague Chris Farfoy pointed out, he's either very principled or very stupid. Probably the latter. But the...
A point of order, David Bennett.
Yes, from an inane member like that, I'm not accepting that comment.
Order. The member will sit down. The member will sit down. Now, I'm going to give the member one... First of all, he's going to withdraw and apologise for being disorderly during his point of order. And when he's done that, he will have one chance to raise a proper point of order. David Bennett. Well, he's going to withdraw and apologise anyway.
Withdraw and apologise, but I ask that member to withdraw and apologise as well.
You've now got your last chance, if you want to stay in the House, to withdraw and apologise with nothing else.
Withdraw and apologise.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I'm happy to wrap up this contribution on my amendment, although I might have a little bit more to go, but we'll see how we go. But I want to speak to another reason why this amendment that I have put forward should be adopted by the House. Now, I want to say, as a matter of principle, I'd rather David Clark's amendment was passed that pushes this out beyond the next election so that New Zealanders can actually have a say on it, because this was not a change foreshadowed by the government at the last election, and they should have the opportunity to vote on it. But if the government aren't of a mind to support that, I hope that they would support my amendment, because if they are genuine in the contributions that they made, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair. First call. Mr. Chair.
David Shearer.